Good morning to you all. I'm a little bit out of breath, to say the least, because I'm in the middle of moving stuff. So, now I'll just catch my breath for a minute. It's a beautiful morning. It's about 11:30 on this lovely Sunday morning. You can see the sun is shining. I brought the old doctor's chair over from the tunnel. There's my cup of coffee, which has fueled me up, sitting on it. I'm just sweeping out this corner down here, as I'm doing a little bit of rearranging now, in order to have the tunnel the way I want it. So I've been sweeping up down there. Let me just go out this way. So I've got the base of the egg chair there, about to take across, and I've got this very, very heavy old church pew, an old church bench, which I can't lift because it's too heavy, but I'll tell you how I've moved it. I've rolled it from the tunnel. So what I've done is I've just tipped it up on one side, steadied it, tipped it up again, and done that all the way across. So this is what I was saying about, you know, if you haven't got the brawn, use your brain, because that's what it's there for. So I've already moved the egg part of this most comfortable chair over to the tunnel, and you can see that there's no wasted journey because I'm bringing back bits of willow and everything. That's just some of the wood that I took up from the fairy wood yesterday that I sawed. So I'm going to be jigsawing that up and adding it to my stockpile for next year. Oh. So I made my coffee and then I decided to go for a little walk down through the fairy wood just to listen to him. He always shows off, you know, when I do a video. He knows, he absolutely knows that there's all you people on the other end of this video watching him. He's such a clever boy. Just here, there he comes. Look, look, Mr. Show Off. So yeah, I was down in the fairy wood and I was looking around and just admiring the trees, admiring everything down there, and thinking about the next little step that I'll take in getting that ready as well for another growing season. Because I really want everything to come on with the best possible chance. Now, in between things, should I just stand here with the camera and let the boy steal the show? Okay. He only ever does this, I'm telling you, when I start pointing the camera. He knows. I should just stand here for a while and just let him take centre stage. Well, he is centre stage, isn't he? I think Mother Earth is more than happy to have him running about on top of her. It's like, I suppose it would be like holding a baby that's learning to move, you know. You just sense the joy of it all. So, in between work here, I went up to the mountain, Kilronan Mountain, and you see all this gritty stuff. It's much smaller than the gravel that I would, you know, that I've bought for the driveway. It's like grit, and there's piles of that hither and thither all along the road up on the mountains, or the roads up on the mountains, to be used by local people or whatever in the event of, you know, ice on the roads. Well, there hasn't been a huge icy winter, so lots of this gravel is now left. In fact, what I've been looking at is the gravel left from last year, which has now got brambles growing over it. So I stop every so often. I've got my bucket and I've got my shovel, and I scoop up buckets of this. So this is what I've been spreading down on the path here. You can hear it underneath. It just gives me a grip when I'm walking and ensures that I don't go skidding derriere in the air. So I just keep it for the main paths because I can't gather enough for all the paths, but this main trackway here really, which as you all know has got this beautiful image of the goddess, which has been subconsciously created that way. I didn't intend to make the path look like her, but that's how it's ended up, you see. So this main pathway takes me right across to the tunnel and it's most used. So I've been scattering some gravel. And it also protects the earth, you see, when I'm constantly walking on this path. So here's the tunnel. Now I've got the eggy bit of the chair over here. I'm still clearing up. I've cleared out this corner because that's where the egg chair is going to go. I've cleared almost all of the stuff that was here. I still have a little bit between the chair and those two little remnants there. This is going to go on the compost heap. I still have 3 segments of the plastic to wash, but you know that I do everything in little bits here and there, and that way then I don't get tangled up in one task, which can end up being, hard going. So just to keep my spirits up and to keep my energy flowing, that's how I do it. Little bits here and there. I think he's tired out now, isn't he? He says, God, that was a performance. Jack, you have completely tired yourself out. Look at you. Yes, I know, you have. So, that lovely tiny gravel, I've now put on these 2 paths. This one, and of course this one, which really needed to have the gravel down because it was so wet up there at the top. So just the 2 paths. I'm not going to gravel the rest of the area, and I'll tell you why. This is earth. This is kind of beaten earth. It's like a beaten earth floor, and because it's earth and because there's lots of seeds around and the tunnel doors are open and lots of stuff comes through and carried by the wind, what happens is that little plants come up hither and thither. Now if you've got gravel down, it's very hard to kind of clean the space of any unwanted plants, because of course what I do is I go along with the hoe and I hoe them up. So I'm going to keep this area, all this, as like a beaten earth area, and that way then if I have to hoe stuff up like here, okay, it's not a big deal. I'm not going to be having to move the gravel, do the hoeing, then put the gravel back. So the 2 paths are where the gravel was needed, but especially this one at the top. So you can see now the sun is coming through the plastic. I'm still being asked questions about the plastic, what kind of plastic it is. I'm sorry folks, I get the opportunity and time-wise to maybe respond to 1 or 2 comments, but in terms of answering all your questions, I just haven't got the time to do it. I try not to sit on the laptop at all, and I certainly don't use the phone for posting stuff. I just, as you can imagine, I'm really busy. So I'll say again, the plastic is no special plastic. It's, as far as I can recall, 6mm. It was a middle-priced plastic. No brand name to speak of because plastic is plastic. So I suppose in terms of wanting to use the same kind of plastic as I've used, there's no magic in it. This is a 6mm plastic. middle priced range, and the trick is to have it as tightly over the tunnel as possible, to have snow wires up to prevent any sagging, and to keep it washed twice a year. In other words, you've got to look after it. You can't just put something up and say, oh well, that's it, that's that done. You've got to maintain something that we're almost forgetting to do. You know, it's a bit like the built-in obsolescence into the goods that we buy. It wasn't that long ago when everything was repaired. Nothing was scrapped. The other question I was asked, which I'll answer now briefly, was, two questions. Do you take the plastic off during the summer? No, never. It's on permanently. And I think the other question was something to do with the ends of the plastic. Well, the ends of the plastic were buried, and there was lots of earth piled on top of it and taken right up to the edge, as you can see, to hold it in place, and that's why it's so taut. So that's that. Gosh, gone over to 11 minutes. I'm going to come back later on with a video. I'll probably do it down in the fairy wood, and you can see I've cleared a lot of stuff here, you know. I'll just give you a quick peek. I'll do a quick peek down into the fairy wood. So all the ivy's been cut back here. Okay. And looking down into the fairy wood. Okay, you can see there's a lot of sunlight coming through now, and get into the actual fairy thorn. And one thing I noticed, you see, with all this clearing up, not only is there a heap of bluebells coming up down there, which I'm aware of anyway, but there's a lot of little ash trees coming up on this side of the fairy tree. But the main thing is, do you see this stem here coming up? I hadn't realised. That's another part of the fairy thorn, look, and it comes right up to touch this fairy thorn here. Comes right up to touch her. Now, I had thought that that was a different tree, but in fact this makes the age of this fairy thorn even older, because it's spread out from the middle. So the actual middle of it is gone, and everything that's coming up is growth that could be, well, it's not secondary growth. Looking at a tree that's very, very old, very old. And you see this part here on the right with all the lichens growing on it. That's a piece of the tree that's snapped. I just see it now, it's snapped at the top. So I've got to get in there and try to cut as much of that out and stack it up somewhere, just to let the light through, because she needs the light in order to keep going. So quite interesting. I'm forever discovering new things here. There's forever, there seems to be more and more revelations. There's such beauty. It's almost heartbreaking. It's almost heartbreaking to be in the midst of it. I see how much she struggles elsewhere, and I see how much she thrives here. And it's just so terribly wrong that outside of places like Bealtaine, because of course there's many Bealtaines, there's many people feel the same way as I do, but outside of places like Bealtaine, Mother Earth is so, I mean, you know, the cards seem to be stacked against her. There's this lack of understanding, this lack of empathy. And I suppose many people don't want to go down that path of empathising with her, because it's heartbreaking. It's like being deeply in love with someone and knowing that you have to leave them at some point. That's probably the closest I can get to that feeling this morning. Anyway, you can hear the wind. It's lovely. Lovely and fresh. There's a beautiful freshness opening up. Look at this. Look at this gorgeous, gorgeous view. So lots and lots of work to do today. And hopefully I'll come back later on with another little video to show you how things have progressed. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody. And touch base with Mother Earth, huh? Blessings.